So the league is obviously pretty competitive. Just after two games, you could see how wild this race is going to be, and how challenging it's going to be to survive. Um, Tennessee hosts Ole Miss and beats them by 30, and Ole Miss hosts Florida, beats them by 20. Tennessee goes to Mississippi State, and, loses, which is not a surprise at Mississippi State. I mean, it's just it's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And we start off the season, we're playing two teams ranked in the preseason top five, and now you got LSU coming in, who wasn't anybody's preseason top five, but they're undefeated in league play. They beat Texas A&M 68-53 at Texas A&M, where they out-rebounded A&M by 6. We were out-rebounded by A&M by 10. That's a 16 rebound difference. A&M shot 25%. LSU is fourth in the league in field goal percentage defense. They're first in the league in forcing turnovers. They're first in the league in steals. They are, it's hard to believe, more athletic than even Texas A&M. The eligibility of Jalen Cook just completely changes their roster. I remember Jalen when he was at LSU the first time, and then had transferred to Tulane, and he would have been a two-time transfer. And we were told by our compliance office, who had been told by the NCAA, that that two-time transfers would not be eligible. And so there were a number of players. We're going to be playing against a number of players in our league that we chose to not recruit because we assumed that the rules would be adhered to and not changed mid-season. So getting ready for it's really a very different LSU team, and the Jordan Wright, who graduated from Vanderbilt and who is one of their best players, now joins LSU, goes back home from Louisiana, which is pretty cool that he has that Vanderbilt degree in hand, and has a really nice career at Vanderbilt, and then gets a chance to go home at LSU, and he's playing the best basketball of his career right now. So it'll be a very up-tempo game too. LSU likes to play fast. They've got great depth. They like to run, and again, they're just really, really athletic.
Questions?
So you raised your hand first. You mentioned Jalen Cook a couple times now and recruiting him. Were you guys, how involved were you with him as a transfer?
I just knew what a great player he was. Like we had him evaluated as good as any guard in the portal.
Which you talked about LSU's defense and the fact that they have a ton of steals, force a lot of turnovers. What stands out to them about that? Like how they've been able to be so successful in that?
Well, I just think because they impact ball screens, they're mobile, they're handsy, they don't sit back and let you run your stuff. They make it hard on you to run your stuff. They extend catches, they press the ball, they got rim protection. They guard a little bit like we do, except they are better at it, as far as forcing turnovers and stealing the ball. And one of the things that I talked to my team about prior to the Texas A&M game was that offense is not going to be as easy. It's not going to be as easy to throw the ball inside of Janai. It's not going to be as easy to get open. It's not going to be as easy to make open shots because they're going to be contested with more length. It's not going to be easy to get to spots on the floor and have the kind of spacing you have just because you want to. That's what good defensive teams do. And I thought that our offensive, execution and/or Texas A&M did a great job of disrupting us, and we hung in there and find ways to score 66, which is what Texas A&M holds teams to. This LSU team holds teams to 66, 67. So I would imagine again that offense could be challenged.
You mentioned the 2% transfer rule and kind of how that's changed, and just midseason all of a sudden has all these changes we've seen in the transfer portal with the rules being so fluid and what goes, what doesn't, changing so often. Has that changed maybe how you might view the transfer portal in years going forward?
I suppose now that you look at the transfer portal and say, well, if there was a one-time transfer rule where you would be eligible after one semester, I guess that doesn't exist. My problem is not in the rule change. My problem is how do you change the rule in the middle of the season? We'll be playing against teams with 1, 2, or even 3 players that were ineligible to play, but because of a rule change in the middle of the semester are now playing. I just don't understand. So, again, what's next? What's next is a student out that's going to say, well, I'm just not going to go to class. I'm not going to worry about being eligible with my 24 hours at a certain grade point average. I'm not going to be concerned about getting 60% of my degree by my 3rd year. It's just a rule. And if that rule harms me in some way by preventing me from, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, I'll just go to court and sue over the fact that I'm threatened to sue that you can't do this to me.
You guys are 5th in the country as a team in assist to turnover ratio this year. I mean, both the assist numbers and the turnover numbers have been great all year long. What do you think has kind of been the key for you guys to get off to such a good start on that, with the way y'all have taken care of the ball, but also set each other up?
Well, I think it starts with our point guards, and I think Aiden leads all freshmen in the country in assist turnover ratio. Both Aiden and Trey are unselfish players. And they also don't put themselves in positions to either try and do too much for themselves or then therefore put themselves in positions where they're going to turn the ball over. I think the second thing is I think this team has really worked hard and it appreciates how hard their teammates have worked, and so they're willing to share the ball and just play unselfishly. Now that, again, is going to really be challenged as we play against better and better defenses that are going to be more disruptive.
Bruce, Jalen's been firing on all cylinders over this 8-game win streak. Just what's stuck out to you the most about his performance?
Well, just that he's demonstrated his athleticism both offensively and defensively. We've always seen signs and glimpses and moments, but we've not seen it for 30 minutes in a game, or game after game, or practice after practice. His focus is better, and I think he's learned a great deal from opportunities and mistakes in the past. I hope for his sake and for our sake that it continues.
Bruce, Buzz Williams said that in his evaluations of SEC players, Trey Donaldson had the biggest improvement so far from year 1 to year 2. Just now you've got a pretty decent sample size on him this season. What have you seen from what Trey has done from his freshman year to his sophomore year that's allowed him to improve?
Well, I think that one of the things about Trey is he's a great athlete. He was a great baseball player, a great football player, and basketball player in high school. And he's also been a great leader, both on and off the court. And, you know, Trey obviously in the offseason, having played behind Wendell, worked really hard to put himself in a position where, you know, he and Aiden, McDonald's All-American, one of the best point guards, freshman point guards in the country, are relative, basically sharing time. And those two, you know, again, there was nobody that helped teach Aiden his position more than Trey, while at the same time trying to compete with Aiden for playing time. And I think Trey's attitude, just his leadership, I honestly think it's something that God's blessed. I just, you know, God give God a chance to bless you by doing the right things, and that's what Trey has done. And it's a great compliment from Coach Williams. Was also very pleased to see Buzz pay our arena and the jungle and the environment such a great compliment. I think our fans who may or may not have had opinion of Buzz Williams in the past, other than the fact that he's had our number, so therefore he obviously couldn't be very popular with the Auburn family. I think he, not that he's become their favorite, but I think they appreciate hearing that from another competitor.
Any other questions? Good, great.
Thanks, Bruce.